So it's a beautiful day and it is late July. I thought I would walk through the little garden here. It's about 9:30 in the morning and I'll show you what kind of herbs I have growing so you can see how much things have changed since my last little tour. I have lost a couple of basil plants and I'll try to explain that to you in an upcoming video. I have two beautiful basil plants still, but I had some Thai Siam Queen basil that I lost to disease. And then I have some more herbs here that I'm growing from seed, and I'm working on a video for those, so I'll show you those in an upcoming video as well. And then the Tulsi basil is looking beautiful. My rosemary is doing great. I just keep clipping away at the poor plant. So I've got a couple more started down in my container garden that I keep close to my garage. Now we've been getting a lot of rain every day. It's like Florida weather. It's beautiful in the morning, and then in the evening we get the thunderstorms. And so that's helped me as far as my gardening, keeping everything watered, but sometimes it can be too much water. Now rosemary likes a lot of water, so I'll leave my little saucer there filled with water, and it gets pretty root bound pretty fast, so it likes a little bit extra water. However, with my other herbs like the basil, it does not like that extra water. Too much water, it can succumb to disease, so I like to make sure that I keep those saucers emptied and not overwater my basil plants. Okay, and then right here is my little kaffir lime tree. I pulled out some of this Perilla during my last little tour, and of course it's starting to take over the container again, so I will remove that right after this little tour because it has an extensive root system and it's competing with the tree. I can tell the tree is getting a little bit lighter in color, and it does not appreciate having its space invaded, so I'll make sure to pull that out because I have a lot of that growing in my square foot garden. And again, this lemongrass hopefully at some point this year will find another container. That's just a little chore I've been putting off. You can tell it's starting to show some signs of stress because of what you call here rust at the bottom. The variety of lemongrass that I grow is very resistant to rust. I hardly ever see it on my lemongrass, but because this has been in this little container and it's crying out for a little larger space, it's starting to show some signs of stress. And then over here is the Greenstalk. You'll remember in my last video of this garden, this was almost completely empty. I had a couple of little plants of basil that I moved over here, and I had some zinnias. Well, one of them is already blooming, so there's going to be a couple more popping out on each side. So I'll be able to clip these if I want to and take them inside my house to add a little pop of color. And some of you may not have seen this before, but this is a little support that you can get from Greenstalk, and I'll leave a link below the video. And it helps just, give that little bit of added support to things that you might need. For instance, when these zinnias get bigger, they'll start falling over, so I thought that would be nice to put right there so they'll have something to lean on. And of course things like cucumbers or peas or anything like that, it's a great little support for them. So you could put one on every single tier if you wanted to. And then over here, my sweet pea currant tomatoes are starting to produce little tiny tomatoes. The basil is looking beautiful. And then right down here I also planted some dill. I'm always putting out dill. It goes to seed so fast, and I love to use the flower heads, but I also like the leaves, so I'm always putting out more dill seed. And then mostly over here are all beans. These are all bush beans. They're called jade bush beans. I've been growing these for years, and they are just lovely. And then another little zinnia is about to bloom right there. And then on this side of my deck, I have my mint, which I cut back. My last video, I cut it all the way down. There were no leaves on it whatsoever. And so it's coming back real nice. This is another container that loves that extra water. Tarragon. Been clipping on that almost every day. I love to throw a sprig of tarragon, well, not just the sprig, but take the leaves off and I mince them and I'll throw them in a can of soup. If I'm in a hurry and I want something nice and healthy to eat, like that little Yes soup from Campbell's, I love that soup. All of their soups are really good, and you can dress them up with your herbs from your container garden. I do that all the time. I'll throw in some chives, or I'll throw in cilantro. Right now I'm using up a lot of tarragon in some of their chicken noodle soup. So I put a little bit of red pepper flakes. Okay, and then over here some more scallions along with one little tiny cilantro plant which is hanging in there. My parsley bolted really early on me this year. It is just bolted straight up. I just have a tiny bit left and this is my only plant. So kind of disappointed about my parsley this year. More tarragon. And then on the other side of the fountain here I have chives and then mint, which I also cut back. That mint had no leaves on it as well, and now you can see it's coming back beautifully. And then the tarragon. And this little container of dill has a lot of dill heads on it, but very few leaves at this point. I have a lot more growing in my front square foot garden, so I've been clipping away at those. Now you can just clip off these little heads of dill, pop them in some soup or on some eggs. They're just wonderful to add a little pop of flavor to your eggs. And then over here, some scallions. These are just about the point where I like to use them. They're just wonderful. I love the little young scallions. Lemon thyme with a Perilla plant growing there in the side. It just reseeded everywhere out here this year. And then some scallions, which have also reseeded. I see some baby ones coming up there, so that's great. I might not have to plant those again this year. And then over here, little nasturtiums. Not doing great. I'm hoping to see another bloom out of this one. It's only bloomed one time this year. So I think when the temperatures cool down, those will really take off. They love that little cool fall temperatures. So there you go. Thank you so much for watching, and y'all have a beautiful day.